Harlan and I were partners in all the way.
I never really knew what I was going to do with my life. And when she said, I want to, come work here full time with me after we'd been dating a while, and I left and found a different job. And I promised we'll never be bored. And for 30 years, we were never bored.
My good friend and another mentor, Errol Cantor, Dad started Transit Team because his mother had cancer and they had no way to get her back and forth to the doctor, being she was confined in a wheelchair. So I worked for Errol. It was an old gas station. There was about 15 employees and maybe 10 vans. The dispatchers, two of them, one had a pistol in his drawer and the other one had a bottle of whiskey. So wow, we had some real work to do there to try to make it a real business. That's a definite. In the first place, we were doing just medical assistance and the VA contract. So in the meantime, Harlan had applied for a job because his dad had worked for us as a mechanic. And he said, my son newly divorced and needs a job and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he walked in the door. And I guess I need to be very honest. I took one look at him and fell in love with him. I really did. Anyway, so he worked as a driver, and little by little, we kind of got together. And then he came to work for us because he would take days off from his other job to help out.
Are you telling my story?
A little bit. As we grew, as the company grew.
They just kind of threw me in a van and said, here's a radio, here's the route. And I said, okay.
So Metro Mobility came along and they asked for bids. They wanted as many people that would bid on it because the service was so bad and the price was so high, and that was obvious when they had only one supplier of the service. So Errol's still in the company though, and this is before he offered it to me. And he said, no, absolutely not. We're not bidding on that. And Gretchen, his wife, also agreed that we really should not bid on that. The company just wasn't strong enough, blah, 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 blah. It was moving along, but very slowly. And he had to keep putting money into the company to make payroll. And we grew a little by little, but not very much. And finally he said, you know what? If you want this business, it's yours, because I just can't deal with it anymore. Otherwise I would just disband it. And at that point I was so invested in the company, trying to keep it going. I said, yes, I'll do it. All of a sudden, one day I'm getting ready to go to work and something comes over me that I have to go do that bid. As something is telling me, you just have to do it. I'd never done a bid before in my life. I went to work and started on an old typewriter. They called me and said that my bid wasn't very complete. And they gave me some suggestions about how to add to it. Would I do that and send it back to them? So I guess they really wanted us. So I did that, sent it back to them. We were now part of them. Passengers could call anybody they wanted, any of the 13 or 15 companies. And in a very short time, we had 3/4 of the business.
It was tough early. I mean, it was tough early. Maxing out credit cards to make payroll but I'm really proud of her and us, what we accomplished there. And we got to work together. We grew something together. Joyce was great at the business of doing business, and I was pretty good at operations and sort of leading that end. And Joyce kept us in the black most of the time.
I think all that is part of growing with a company. Well, the company grew, we grew. And that's what was so exciting, making those plans, building the building, getting the money for it. It was all a challenge, and it was all very exciting, very worthwhile. There were always headaches along the way with everything, but overall, it was a tremendous feeling to watch it grow.
We were really proud of what we had built, and the business and the buildings and the culture, and those people stayed with us for, years and years and years. And they were still there after we left.
I mean, buses, you can buy them anywhere, vans, whatever. But having a good driver, a good receptionist, a good reservationist, I mean, that's what made us good. And as an employer, I just felt like it was very, very important to treat our employees as good as possible, because that's really the only thing we had, was a good employees. And I honestly really, really appreciated them. And I really wanted them to feel appreciated. When I hired, for example, Felton Williams, better known as Bill Felton, or James Reese, Susie Deich, I don't know. I've always wanted to help people. And then I got to know their kids as they were born, and then they got married and they went to college. And by the time I left, I knew all their families. So it was a big family for me.
They did for us too. I mean, not just in their work ethic and, doing the right thing. They did for us. I mean, they sent us on trips, Christmas gifts on, they sent us to London. They sent us to New York. They sent us to Dallas. I think maybe they were just trying to get rid of us. Glad they're gone for a few days. I'm just really proud.
Yeah.
It was exciting for both of us. I think I was probably more ready to retire than Joyce was, truth be told. But we left it in good hands, and that made us proud.
But I felt so proud of what you guys were able to do.
Yeah.
Because it took some really, really hard work, long days, nights, etc., to do what you did, which is more than double it in size in
9 years.
a third the time.
Yeah.
So you were both working really hard, really hard.
I think we gave you a good model, though.
Everything that Mike and I did every day at Transit Team was driven by the foundation that you guys gave us. And on drivers' appreciations, and when we hand out turkeys, there is always talk about how this is something that Joyce and Harlan started years ago, and we're just carrying on your legacy. So you guys set the framework, and we just built it from there.
And the best part about selling it to you and Mike was that you really are like family to us. And you've really done such a wonderful job. And I'm just proud of you guys, just so proud of you, both of you.
You're going to make me cry.
I know.
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah.